You've arrived at the area where the Dan Seals have their main base of operations. Let's radio them. We ain't dealing in no slaves or goods. Get off our comms unless you're aiming for a fight. Let's ask about Donnie. That son of a bitch? Yeah, we know him. He was hanging with us for a while but got bored after fixing up all our wheels. Was fine at first, but now we got no clue how to jerry-rig what he's done to him. Had to replace the whole lot of him. Too smart, that kid. Buggered if I know. If you see him, feel free to kill him for us. Well, that's lovely. Check back with Rhinus. Yay. I'm crossing a mountain range. Investigate the wreck. Wow. It's pretty nice. And I'm just doing cross-country treks at this point. I don't need to fight people, so I don't... Just gonna deliver it, because I might as well. Oh no, we gotta fight. Alright. I know it seems kind of obnoxious to, wow, my mouse is still really bugging out. But I need, like, a reason to heal the damn thing. Oh my gosh, mouse. Oh my gosh. This is where I unplug my mouse. And plug it back in, and hopefully it behaves better from now on. Look, I tried to avoid violence. But they really wanted to. We were just talking about you. Other person. Why, it's Donnie. God damn it, Donnie. Just he went off to see the Dan Seals. He arrived here saying he got tired of them. Unfortunate timing, I'll admit, but now that we're here, we can discuss the matters at hand. We're fairly certain we can get the entire rig up and running, but it'll take some time. Not decades, of course. We're trying to circumvent that. Nevertheless, it'll take some time. Wait, yeah. You see a stranded raider further ahead. His vehicle appears battered and broken. He clambers up from the ground and waves his arms trying to get your attention. What do you have to say? It's going to be an ambush. You stop your convoy and head over. The raider looks severely dehydrated and begs for some water. After refreshing his throat, he stammers, "My crew just left me here for dead. Y'all look pretty tough, though. If you help me fix my car here, I'll join you and shoot and kill whoever." You know what? Sure, why not? After repairing the raider's vehicle, he grins widely, grunts, says, "Y'all can be sure I'll tally up the most kills for you guys." Oh my gosh. Heavy machine gun, light machine gun. Here's the problem. All my vehicles are still better than yours, but I'd like your weapons. Alright, let's head inside. We weaponize it somehow? Okay. Yay, we've got all our stuff. It was abandoned for a reason. Actually, there's got to be like a final boss, right? Let's just head to the camp and clear out. Time to fight back. Oh god, I only have 10 fuel. Okay, I need to actually fight. Nope, my mouse is still freaking out. Here we go, 12 fuel. I mean, to be fair, I think I could make it back, but I'd like to repair up to full before we depart, just in case something's waiting for us at the ship. Likely victims. Oh shoot, I didn't really mean onwards. I was gonna investigate. Uh-oh. Yeah, that was bad. I almost made it for what it's worth. I would have taken 1 fuel. Okay, you can spend it even when you don't need to. They got nothing there to sell. Oh, we must have bought stuff from them already. Alright, what do you got? Heavy plasma blaster. Heavy pulse laser. So many plasma blasters. We don't do a ton of armor damage, but it's kind of whatever. Be nice if we could use some of these things. Like, we might as well. There are 2 best vehicles, so. Oh god, I didn't buy any fuel. I'm that dumb. Alright, doop doo 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 doo. Okay, I might have to choose and attack them. I'm really dumb for not having bought fuel. This is quite a few enemies. Mouse, stop it. And we're going to win. Not that surprised anyone. So I didn't get in. Oh, I got a shit ton of fuel. Yeah. As you near your spaceship, ready to fix it up and leave this planet once and for all, you spot an enormous hovering battle machine. You have made quite a name for yourself on Omega Prime, fighting different factions with blatant disregard for the established distribution of power. Your meddling in our affairs ends now. Two smaller vehicles move in to flank you as the monstrosity powers up its weapons to approach. You have no choice but to fight! We're going to try and focus fire the shit out of this. These guys are going to be immune to mines, but... yeah, our armor's gone. Yeah, it's doing no damage. Ooh, those railguns though! Reasons why our handling being as good as they are is important. So this is interesting. Oh, that actually did some damage. Don't even care about mines. It's an EMP mine. Yeah, I'd rather, we actually legitimately don't care about mines. We care about EMP mines, but... So the mine layer isn't really much of a concern. The stunning is, though. Yeah, the EMP mines are annoying, but... I'm really glad we upped our mine, shenanigans to this. I'm like slightly uncomfortable with how close that's getting, but... We're actually... The extra mobility is really nice. Oh, Jesus Christ. I'm made really uncomfortable. Just... Nice. Okay, beautiful. I actually really need him to be nice. Okay, good. That didn't kill. I was like, wait a minute. If that was like sweeping death, I'd be really sad. Maneuverability, please. Jesus. Shit. Just gonna slowly dodge out of the way. Sorry, I'm being really quiet because I'm just focusing on the fight. Like, this is an interesting fight. Like, I can't say it's not interesting because it certainly is. You go there. You go. That's the thing that's dying. You go here. You go there. Just focus fire. I think we got this shit. Victory! The blinding light of deafening explosion. A blind light and deafening explosion fade out, and a peaceful silence settles over Olmec Prime. Achievement unlocked. Made it. With the monstrous battle machine destroyed, the way is clear for you to return to Spaceship Mercury and finally leave the planet. The collected parts prove operational enough for Spaceship Mercury to take off. You leave your escort vehicles behind, thank everyone for their help, and load your MCV onto the spaceship. One can only guess what will happen to Olmec Prime now that its supposed keepers have been destroyed, but you have no time to worry about it. The next mission awaits. The days of driving a convoy are over. The endless war of the Landinar awaits. So, that was fun. That was a lot more fun than the first time we played. But here's the problem that I have. Is the menu actually just freaking out? Okay, we can't click things. So, okay, defeat Andy to unlock this unit. Kill an enemy without taking any damage to unlock this unit. That's nearly impossible. It means you'd have to destroy them so utterly. Either way, here's the thing. I have like no interest in these. In playing as other stuff. Like sure, I could increase the difficulty. I wonder if, oh, does the difficulty just change what you start with? That's interesting. The music is a little loud here. Let me go ahead and just turn it down a little bit. It might just be too loud for me. So here's the thing. This iteration, this run through was enjoyable. I enjoyed myself. The problem that I have with this game is that it doesn't seem to have enough variance. And what variance it does have comes in the form of where you drive. Now, I wasn't paying a ton of attention. Well, that's not really true. I was paying attention. I don't personally remember exactly where things were in the first iteration, from the first episode that we played through. But they seemed very similar. Just where they were. And here they seemed pretty similar to then as well, because we ran through like twice last episode because I died almost immediately. But that whole shtick of drive from one side of the map to the other side of the map to the other side of the map, it wasn't very fun. Like that part of the game wasn't very fun. The driving around, getting a random encounter isn't inherently bad, but there was a switch was flipped, and maybe it is easy mode versus a higher difficulty, but a switch was flipped about halfway through. I managed to not die for long enough that we became so powerful that it was effectively impossible for us to die. And I will admit, part of that was actually going in and investigating that stadium. Like, we got a hovercraft that kicks ass. But therein lies the biggest problem, as I see it. And once again, that doesn't mean the game isn't fun. It just means I think it has a problem. And that's that I can't upgrade my vehicles the way that I'd like to. And that's a positive and a negative. Like, it's a positive and a negative. It's positive because it forces you to go and interact with the other parts of the map and, like, delve into the story of the planet. Like, that's kind of a positive. But the negative is that's not always what I want to do. Like, you could drive around on that map forever, just hitting stuff up. And there's enough combat that is profitable enough that you can be fine. Once again, maybe that's easy versus medium versus hard. Maybe your rewards become less. But even so, we reached that point where our combat was dealing little enough damage to us that just go into combat, could go buy fuel, repair stuff, and be fine. Well, especially because you get fuel. You get fuel from combat, which I'm okay with. Like, I think that's fine. But it creates this loop where all you do is fight and win and fight and win, and you don't have to interact with things once you get strong enough. But to get strong enough, you basically have to get lucky, is almost how it feels. Like, our starting vehicles weren't bad, but they weren't good either. Like, the fact that the handling is a lot more important than I expected it to be. I still think my call on range being maxed first is correct. I still think that's right. But I think handling is second. Because it lets you be in range of your enemies always. It lets you avoid things always. Because insta-death stuff on the map is really just bad for us. We can occasionally make it work by stunning things before they travel, but it seemed like whenever we tried to stun something as it was about to drive into a rock, like the second I clicked, okay, stun this thing because it's going to crash, it, failed. Like, it started to leave, and we stunned it as it was leaving the lane, and then it didn't crash, which, as a tie break, I would much rather it work that way, because it would suck if that happened to you and you lost a vehicle, because your vehicles are more valuable to you than the enemy's vehicles are to them, because they win by wearing you down, by a war of attrition. So, in terms of combat mechanics, the game is pretty solid. Like, once you actually are in the combat's solid, and I'm okay with that. I think there's more strategic depth than I was willing to give it, and that might be the break point for getting better at the game. But due to the limited availability of vehicles, hovercrafts are clearly the best vehicle. Fight me, seriously. It comes with 100% mine and 100% handling. And you just up the range a little bit and you're fine. And you don't have to worry about mines anymore. And it's not like the mines are avoided. I almost expected the mines to be avoided and not set off. That kind of almost feels like how mine avoidance should work, even though it's mine guard. But that would actually be a flip side, right? You're using hovercrafts. That's really good. They won't get hit by the mines, but they don't set them off either. So they're just going to hit your convoy, or they're going to hit your other units. So you have to be careful of that. I almost feel like that would be a better way for that to work. I don't know about balance for that, but to get back to the point that I was trying to make is hovercrafts are just strictly better than all other vehicles. So if you can find a hovercraft, you will do what you can in order to buy it. Or in the case that we had, we just basically got handed two of them. And one of them was from a side mission. No, sorry, one of them was from a random interaction, and one of them was from a main mission. Granted, we chose to bring them along and stuff like that, and maybe there are interesting things there. But once again, all those conversations seem to be the same. So it seems like you just find the optimal choice there, and you're just good. You will be getting that vehicle every time. Now, our other vehicles did end up being very good once we upgraded them a decent bit and picked up some slightly better weapons. But the weapons that came on those hovercrafts were also better than everything else we had. So yeah, it's just one of those things where it's unfortunate that the vehicles work that way. Because, it'd be nice if there was a tiered, ostensibly, there is a tier list of vehicles. It just makes sense. As I said, it's obvious that hovercrafts are the best. So it stands to reason that one of these vehicles is clearly the worst. And it's probably the one that we ended up with at the end, where it has one attacking gun and 1 support slot. Like, that feels like it's the worst. This one. Because it can only deal damage with 1 thing. So our DPS is literally halved, and this utility generally doesn't matter. Generally. I suppose you could get an aid and like a chainsaw and just run with it, but it doesn't seem to be that great. Oh, interesting. We can change the vehicle. Oh, you change those here and you change the vehicles that go with it. But here's the interesting thing. Like, eventually you unlock this, which would be crazy broken, and I don't even know what that MCV is. 10 consecutive battles with only the MCV in your convoy. That is another achievement. I forgot about that. Honestly, we probably could have pulled that off. But this is dumb. Like, you should never actually do this. So yeah. My opinion. But, yeah. Because there's a tier list, it would be nice. What's the 3? Oh, that's re-rolling the name. Oh, this is horrible. One that does... Yeah, this is just all HP damage all the time. I wonder how far we went in a single run. Like, I find it cool that there's this sort of stuff. Like, it changes what you start with. You just get a shield for that one. I guess we didn't really unlock other stuff. That's it. I find it interesting how the unlocks interact here. But with your vehicles being bad to worse, like, it feels like there should be a way to upgrade these, or like change this. Give yourself more on a single vehicle. You know, something along those lines, because that will let you, or overall, give you a more consistent path, right? Because if I can upgrade a slot here, and then upgrade a slot here, and then upgrade it again so that it hovers, so that I've got a hovercraft, and I know hovercrafts are good, and like, the thing is, I don't know the mechanics that would let you do this in a way that's reasonable, or that would be balanced, but assuming that you could in fact find that, which once again would not be easy, but assuming that you could find that and you could go about adding that string of mechanics into the game, it would let you say, oh, hey, this vehicle that isn't all that great, but I'm kind of stuck with because I haven't gained any others, I can now make into something that's really powerful. Something along those lines, right? Maybe if it was even something like combining 2 vehicles. But not being able to do it in a way that is predictable or consistent means that you're rolling for luck to try and get good vehicles. Which, you know, take it or leave it. Ah, yes, the rocket artillery. So yeah, it's still a fun game. But I think because of the way this works, the replayability isn't there. And that's why I'm doing this review, because I think I'm done playing it. I appreciated the recommendation to come back and play it because, you know, I supported it on Kickstarter. I thought it looked neat, and I don't think I was wrong. I think this was a neat game. I liked a lot of the mechanics that were in here. But I think the biggest ways to improve this game, if it were me, and I had the time, the first thing I would do is do something about the main game map. Because despite the fact that I completely understand what it's going for, the topographical, you move slower when you're higher up, and despite the fact, like, I'm sure it was a time limitation or a money limitation not to make that map more detailed or anything more interesting than what it is, but like doing something that is like 3-dimensional, like actually visually 3-dimensional, I think would be more interesting than what it currently is. Because I barely process that I'm going over mountains. The only reason I realize I am is because I'm going slow. And that's just kind of unfortunate. Because I honestly think that there are better ways to path around, and that should be the way to do it. Because if you use a lot more gas climbing mountains, then it's going to be bad. Like, if you keep driving over mountains. But there's no good feedback system for that, because with the map being flat the way it is, the visual representation of height and gas consumption doesn't impact enough. And that's part of the problem. The second thing that I think would vastly improve the game is, how do I put this? Think of FTL. In FTL, instead of vehicles, you have people. And the stories at the different waypoints are just significantly more engaging than the ones were here. Most of the time I was just clicking through things and clicking on different options because it didn't feel like they had weight. So like when we were running through the Colosseum, right? And they're like, you're chasing after something. I wasn't concerned. Not at all. I wasn't concerned because I don't have players. I don't have people. Like I had Andy and I had Ashley. Is it Ashley? Like I had those characters and I had their vehicles, but it did not seem to me like I was going to lose a vehicle because a person died. And therefore people never actually died. Like people never died. Your vehicles could die, and you could argue whether or not the people actually died. We only lost a couple vehicles and none that were named. Like 4 people that joined our party. So I can only assume that, it's just a thing, right? Like there are players or there are humans in my convoy, but I don't know any of their names except for the people who are helping me. And even then it's only kind of vague. People join the convoy and leave the convoy, and I don't have a list of where they are, of who they are, of what their skills are. Like I almost think that adding a piloting mechanic would be cool. Like you have even if you just like had an infinite supply of people, but you could name them like your vehicles. You could assign them to different vehicles. They would gain skill, kind of like FTL. Like you become invested in the people because they improve over time, and losing them is bad for you. Not only because you lose their skills, but also because you kind of are connected to them. Like empathy for a vehicle isn't really a thing. Like it is. There are people like, I'll feel bad if I see a vehicle get dinged up or something, but it's not the same as a person. Even if it's an alien, like an FTL, that sort of thing helps a lot, I think. Being able to add that bit of empathy in, just that little bit of, here's what's going on. I think that would be a really good way to improve the game, to spice it up, to give you incentive to keep your people alive, and have events be able to kill your people. Because it would make them a lot more tense. You'd be a little bit more interested in reading into them. Because every single one of those events either led to combat, gaining resources, or possibly damaging vehicles. And I think that's it. So, that's pretty much my take on it. Because the biggest problems I have, to recap, are that the combat, while fun, the in-between bit of improving your vehicles feels very stagnant and difficult to actually get yourself into a better position without a lot of luck. And it's very light switch luck. You're either doing great or going to probably die. And I think we saw that between the first episode and this. Well, I guess this isn't going to be one episode, but this series of episodes for this run. That's the first issue that I see. And the second one is that the map is very unengaging, as well as the stories that exist on them. And my suggestions, of course, are in the previous bit, but to quantify them again, add a way to upgrade vehicles in such a way that makes it a little bit more of a continuous power level rather than just spiking at random times. It will allow for a more consistent run, and for more skill-based runs, if you put good trade-offs in those various upgrades. And to fix the map, adding humans, or, I mean, hell, even if they're aliens, it doesn't really matter to me, but add people to the game so that they can gain in skill, stuff like that. And that way, there will be more weight to the events that occur on the map, and it will be more engaging to do that. But that's me. That's my opinion. And yeah, I think that's pretty much all I've got to say about Convoy at the moment. Is it a game I'll come back to? Maybe. I'm not terribly inclined to right now, but if there was updates or changes, I might consider it. Overall, I think this is a good game. I mean, I was entertained by it for probably about 3 hours. And it's not terribly expensive. Like, I think you're getting decent bang for your buck. It definitely falls under my, it's cheaper than a movie, which is pretty much my level of this is how much you spend for entertainment, even though that's probably not a good one. But yeah, that's where I'm at with Convoy. I hope that you guys enjoyed watching me play this one. I hope you agree with me. I'm curious what your opinions are as well. Feel free to let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. I will gladly start a conversation up with you. But yeah, that's going to be it for this one, at least for now. And until next time, keep your gears turning.